I've heard some good things about the latest updates to this game, that they've been introducing some more kind of basic survival stuff. You can now get hypo and hyperthermia, so the types of clothing you choose becomes very important. You have to think about the weather, you have to think about shelter. This combined with avoiding dangers like zombies and other players, it's starting to get a bit more involved now. We're beginning to get to the stage where this is really a kind of living, breathing world you have to survive in, that you have a living character that you look after, you have to maintain their health. It's no longer just PvP on a huge map. And I heard that these updates had really changed the game, that they'd made it feel like a different game. That really encouraged me to get back into it. I haven't really played it for a couple of months. I've played it a little bit here and there, I've made one or two videos, but I certainly haven't had any interest in playing Lone Wolf or anything lately. One thing I'm not really into is roleplay stuff. I don't like to get in and play roleplay a character. I'd rather that the world impose things on me and I have to make my own decisions. I'm not just making up a story and playing along with it and everything goes according to the plan that I made. I'd rather watch a film or read a book or something. But with a game like DayZ, I want the story to emerge from the things that happen in the world and the decisions I make. So for me, the core gameplay here is really about emergent things, emergent gameplay, not scripted events, not things that I plan to happen, but things that arise out of different elements and mechanics in the game interacting with each other and interacting with my behaviour. And of course, one of the most important things is how it still is very much about that social experiment. You know, dropping a group of people into a world with limited resources, lots of things that cause stress, and seeing how they act towards each other. And one of the most interesting things for me is trying to read people, trying to listen to their voices, even look at the way they move their mouse and look at you, what they're doing with their weapon and so on. But when I'm jumping in this time, for this video, I'm just going to be trying out the new survival stuff. I haven't read up a lot about it, I don't know how all the mechanics work, I don't know any tricks. I'm probably going to be surprised a lot, probably fuck up a lot as well. And that is also part of the fun for me. I don't want everything to go the way I want it to. I want problems to happen, I want to get in trouble, I want to have to suffer through things and survive things and almost die and die. If there was nothing to struggle through in this game, I would not play it at all. So I'm a fresh spawn here and I've been running out around in the rain, out in the elements. I'm a bit damp, I'm probably going to start getting really cold soon, so I need some better clothing. I found this rather fetching blue coat that should hopefully warm me up a bit, and I assume at this point that I've got a little bit of time before I start becoming hypothermic or whatever, and I need to make sure I don't get too much wetter. So I've decided no more running around in the rain. I'm going to make sure I stick under some shelter and wait out the rain next time. And I would normally walk right past these gumboots, but they seem like a much better idea now. Of course, I'm eating all the food I find, drinking everything I can, because I know that when you spawn you're a bit hungry and thirsty. So food and hydration are always the first priority for me. I like to get to a healthy status as soon as possible. Now I'm hanging out the bottom of this pub. I'm a bit hesitant to start moving because it's raining. I'm trying to think of what I should do. Should I just make a dash for it and try to get to another building to find better clothes, maybe find an axe, I can start a fire or something. Then I come across my first zombie issue. I haven't had any experience with the melee system yet. I don't know what the zombies are going to do. I know that their behaviour has changed a little bit. We hit each other several times. I managed to eventually put him down, but I'm hurt, I'm bleeding. This is my first injury and I need to patch up. That's already a bit of a concern for me because I watched one of Agathor's recent videos where he showed that there is a sort of hidden stat which has a finite amount of damage that it can take and it doesn't regenerate. So you could be walking along with a healthy status and everything's fine, but you get hit once by a zombie and you're dead. And this is because that damage has been building up over time. I really wanted to avoid getting hit at all by zombies, but it's a bit late now. I get bored of waiting for the rain to stop and I think, oh, it can't hurt me that much. I sprint across to the supermarket, find a little bit of stuff. I come across more food in random houses as my character's slowly getting colder, and I'm very happy to find a yellow raincoat. For the first time, I'm happy to see this bright yellow thing. I decide to keep both my woolen coat and the yellow raincoat depending on the situation. So when it's raining, I'm going to take out my raincoat, chuck it on to keep dry. When it's not raining, I'm going to wear the woolen one partly because it's darker, for a bit of camouflage, and also I assume that it might keep me a bit warmer. So I feel like I'm steadily building up a kit which will help me deal with the elements. Then it's onto the fire station, hoping I get some better loot, some weapons or something. I don't know if there's any military loot spawning in there at all anymore. The only thing I'm really concerned about with going there is running into other players. I found a pistol which I wasn't terribly excited about, as the magazines for them aren't very easy to come by. So now it's taking up 4 spaces in my inventory, and I'll probably never get to use it anyway. I get up on the top of the roof and there's some ammo there for my blaze that I've recently picked up. Then I take a moment to use my binoculars to scan the tops of the buildings in Novo. I was considering going in there and I didn't want to get any trouble from snipers hanging out on the top of roofs or up on those rocks. I ended up skipping most of Novo. I just didn't feel comfortable going into the middle of it. I skimmed along the southern side and checked out a few buildings there. I found a Hessian bag, so I dropped that silly looking child's backpack and replaced it with a much cooler improvised bag. And I developed another zombie problem and started bleeding again, and then it happened again. So I'm really not feeling very good about my ability to take out zombies with melee attacks. If I have to deal with more than 1 or 2 zombies at a time, I'm probably going to be in a lot of trouble. On top of that, it seems like opening a can of tuna in my raincoat has damaged it. I've never heard of this happening before, but you could clearly see it. But moving on, I'm getting very cold and I need to do something about it. I get to work chopping down some trees, I make a fireplace, try to light it and it starts raining. So of course the fire won't start. It makes total sense. The next thing to do is to find shelter so I can get my fire going. Finally I make it to a castle, there's a bit of shelter. I get inside while it's raining and set up my fireplace. Feeling very pleased with myself, I sat next to the fire waiting to warm up, and then nothing happened. I stayed cold. I don't know if there's a glitch with starting fires inside this castle. I've got no idea. But I stood there for around 7 or 8 minutes. I even stood on top of the fire. Apparently that's supposed to burn you, and it did nothing to me. So that was a bit disappointing, but I know that there's one thing that can warm me up a bit in real life when I'm cold, and that's running. So I choose a random direction, start running, and I get a little bit lost. I don't know where I am, and that's fine because I really don't care where I end up. I put many hundreds of hours into the mod, and wherever you put me on the map, I could figure out where I was pretty quickly. Now there have been so many changes to the map that I do get lost again, which I really enjoy, in fact. Somehow I ended up back in Gorka, but I really wanted to go out west and start having a look out there. I wanted to find some animals to kill, maybe a chopper crash, and maybe even make my way to that new tent city that was removed from Belota. Moving out west, I end up in Novi Sabor. I clumsily deal with a few zombies. I find a Mosin at the police station, which I'm very happy about. And then you can see the zombies are becoming actually a bit of a nuisance, which is very cool. But I press on, I continue swapping out to my yellow raincoat whenever it starts raining. I end up in Starry. And here's where the zombie situation really starts to get interesting. The military zombie took an axe hit and did not go down, he just ate it. That was a bit scary. This is when I thought I need to start taking them out with a gun. This is when I start finding out that I'm not used to the new gun swaying mechanics and I find it difficult to hit anything. And the woolen coat is now finally completely ruined along with the gun inside it, though I'm far more worried about the coat than that stupid pistol. Now my lovely raincoat is completely fucked, and I'm forced to wear this shitty green thing just to keep me warm. Then there's a lovely woolen coat not far away. I'm not taking any more risks getting too close to the zombies. I'm just going to shoot them, get the job done, and get out. I was starting to run out of ammo for the Mosin. I thought it might be best to switch to the SKS, even though I've only got 10 rounds for it. Then it seems like all that noise I was making was actually attracting more zombies. It seems obvious that it would do that, but I wasn't sure if that mechanic was actually working in the game. That's when I realised that there was far too much for me to handle. I couldn't kill them with melee attacks with an axe, and I definitely didn't have enough ammo to kill them all. I either had to run or die. As I was running along with the zombie train in tow, I noticed that there was a stag standing out in the middle of the field, and that's exactly what I'd been looking for the whole time. At first I thought I'd escape from the zombies and then come back and get that thing. Then I realised that probably the best course of action would be to steer the zombies towards it so they would leave me alone. And that's where the story ends for now. Let me know what you think, if you'd like me to do more of this sort of thing. I think overall the survival mechanics have come a long way. There's still a long way to go. The game is still very glitchy, it's laggy, there are many problems, but it's looking a lot better, and I really look forward to how it all develops over the next year. Thanks for watching, see you next time.